For years, Malcolm McDowell has been a symbol of satire and comedy in pictures like If, Oh Lucky Man, and the brilliant Clockwork Orange. He showed audiences how to laugh at life's extremes and excesses. Mr. McDowell continues to play in the theater and movies, and we're pleased to welcome him back to CBS and thank him for joining us here on this Monday night. I just asked you out of curiosity, and I'll ask you on the air, whether you watched the transfer of Hong Kong from the British Crown to the People's Republic of China.
I did. It was fascinating.
Yeah, what did you think of that?
I thought that Prince Charles looked extremely ill at ease.
Didn't he, though?
Like somebody had shown him a smelly fish under his nose.
And I love when he said, after 158 years of British administration.
Yes.
Not after 158 years of taking all we could out of there.
Well, I mean, look, you know, being British, I don't totally agree with that. But, and I think that's interesting that actually, well, of course, the Britain's whole, what they did to the Raj and to India and all that, and the partition of, you know, Pakistan.
And the opium trade.
Oh, yes. Well, of course, Hong Kong was a prize that they fought over the Opium Wars, where they wanted the opium to sell it openly. I mean, can you imagine the change of what's happening today? I mean, for instance...
It was kind of sad, though, when the Crown flag came down. You know, it was a moment in history, truly, the passing...
well, it sort of was and it wasn't it?
Well,
it really... I mean, I think the people of Hong Kong really feel that they're Chinese.
Of course they do.
I mean...
But most of them left Beijing to get out.
Of course they did. And the interesting thing is, of course, they sent in the 4,000 troops and all that. But, of course, it is Chinese, and there's never any doubt about it.
Right.
But, and, of course, they have, you know, all the British things, the gentlemen's clubs and all that, the racing and all the sort of trappings of the British gentleman, you know, the upper classes. It's strange. But they still have that in India to a certain extent, you know. There's leftovers of the Raj.
Well, I think that's normal. When I was in Vietnam the last time, about 15 years ago, the French are still there, if you know what I mean, in terms of trappings of cuisine and of language and things of that order.
Yes, but look, at least the British gave them language, Shakespeare, Kipling, and all these great writers, you know, Forrester, and they gave them the law. And that is something, at least, that they gave them, you know, that... so it wasn't all bad. Of course they raped the country and they took the profits. And Victoria became an empress of India. You know, it's ridiculous, really. But in a way, it wasn't all one way.
No,
it was
it
a
wasn't.
Little give.
No,
they were administrators. And the trouble is, of course, they still have the public school system where they teach people to go out to empire to rule and to administer. And, of course, there ain't no empire.
There ain't no empire no more.
So they end up in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Or Bermuda. Let me ask you here about a picture you made, and I can't believe that they got you and Sir John Gielgud when Penthouse and Guccione made Caligula. Remember back in the 70s? This was their big picture. And, my God, you had Peter O'Toole and John Gielgud and you. A tremendous cast. And
it was their only picture.
Yeah, and it turned out to be a disaster.
It turned out to be one of the biggest grossing independent movies of all time, I believe.
Really?
I'm still waiting for my check, Bob. But I think I'll be waiting a rather long time.
But I hear it's a big cult hit now in Russia, that it's huge.
I was cast in a Russian film because the director's mother had seen Caligula 50 times on a pirated cassette and said, "You've got to work with this actor."
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And like you and O'Toole had a scene in that picture, didn't you?
We had many scenes. But O'Toole, of course, was hilarious. We did 2 weeks of night shooting. You know, we'd be called in to this huge, it was a 3-acre stadium that they'd built. And we were called in at 5 o'clock in the evening, and we'd never get on, you know, to do our stuff till 4 in the morning. And by that time, Peter had been having a party in his...
Had a couple, right?
Whatever. I don't know what he was doing, but he was doing something in there. And by the time he came out, of course, you know, I was helping him do his lines and going through his lines and stuff, and he was as merry as ever. And the producer came in at one point to see how it all was going, and he said, "Let's do it in Cockney, darling." So he says, "Round was better say," you know what I mean? And this poor producer, this Italian, just ran out practically in tears. He didn't know what to expect. But anyway, we get on the thing, and we came out, and there's an expression in England called gobsmacked, and we both stood there like this because there were groups of in this 3-acre site there was, I think, a whole group of sort of paraplegics or something that were naked, that were in sort of being wheeled around, and there were people doing, you know, Irish jigs.
There were some bizarre moments in this
They
film.
were so bizarre. It was
Truly
so
bizarre.
stunning. And O'Toole looked around and he started off, "Rome is but a city." And he looked around and said, "My God, darling, are they doing the Irish jig over there?" Of course, they were all naked, you know.
I know,
Completely naked.
Yeah,
I mean, anyway, it was ludicrous, really. And he said, "Are we on?" I said, "Yes, we're turning. They're on. We're on.
Yeah.
We're on." "Oh, we're on. Rome is but..." I said, "You've said that." Anyway, he comes up to he had to come up to the sentry who was standing there like this, and he has to say, "Caligula, do you think this man is drunk?" And I say, "Yes, my lord, I think this man is drunk." And he goes, "More wine!" And they push up this funnel in this guy's, and they pour this wine down. Now, in the meantime, we have gone on a little walkabout to show the audience what a ridiculous thing's going on. And he's talking about Rome and all the rest of it. We finally get back to the man, the soldier, the sentry, who's standing there, who's been fed all the wine. Now, underneath his breastplate, they've put like a beach ball, and they filled it with chicken's innards.
Chicken guts, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The guts, and then some wine or something, or you know,
To look
coloured
like
water.
blood, right?
Yes.
And the idea would be he stabs the guy.
He's got to stab him under the breastplate.
Right.
And so all the guts fall out.
Right,
And we all go, "Oh, my God," you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So he goes, "Caligula, do you think he's had enough wine?" I said, "Yes, my lord, I do. He says, "Sword." And the hand is like, and I'm trying to get, you know, it in the hand like this. And he looks under and he goes, wham! Now, the 3,000 extras, right, and the whole crew, and he goes like this, and this thing did not split. It just fell. It was like a bomb, a time bomb, went boom, boom, boom.
Bouncing along the floor.
Bouncing, yes. And we looked at this thing, and everyone was like, "What is it?" You know. And we all looked at it, and O'Toole looks up at me and he goes, "I think she's dropped her bloody handbag." That was the end of the shooting for me.
You know, I was once listening to Richard Harris talk about O'Toole, and he said there was a time when 80% of their bodily fluid was vodka and tonic. I mean,
no tonic.
No tonic.
Just vodka.
Oh, my Lord. And how would they get up night after night, O'Toole, when he does the stage? How does he do it, for heaven's sake?
I don't know. I heard that the last shot of Beckett that he did with Richard Burton, and they went out, then they had one shot to do in Canterbury Cathedral, I think O'Toole had to walk down, Burton had to walk down the nave of the cathedral.
Oh, surely. I remember
and
the scene.
kneel, and O'Toole has to do whatever it is.
The sword thing.
Exactly. So Burton, they've been up all night, completely plastered.
Oh,
so Burton managed absolute determination and walks right down that nave. He gets down, goes to kneel, and just goes,
Oh, man.
And that was the end of the shooting for that day.
Must be awfully tough to stay on budget when this is going on.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, was Bob Guccione, would he be on the set when all
Occasionally.
this? Yeah.
And when he made himself up.
Oh, you're kidding.
Oh, no.
But he wasn't in the picture?
No.
But he put on
there was
makeup.
more drama going on off than on. And that's saying something. And poor John Gielgud was, very distraught. And, I think this is a porno movie. I don't think we can stand it. My reputation.
How did they get you people to do this?
Well, because Gore Vidal said, "Oh, you must come. It's wonderful. I mean, who cares who pays for it? It's like Warner Brothers. You don't care if Bob Guccione pays for it. He's just paying the bills. It's nothing to do with it." Of course, we didn't realize they were going to slot in all these, nudie things and all that. And it was amazing, really. Because O'Toole was teased John Gielgud terribly, saying, "I don't know what a Knight of the Realm is doing in a porno movie, John." I said, "Look, it's not that pornographic." Poor John Gielgud had to sit in this bath and commit suicide over 3 days. And the poor man looked like a prune at the end of it. And they called Pauser one day, the poor man, which is their lunch. They all rushed off, and he's laying there like this. I came back in to get my script. And I see the bubbling water, and I saw John.
In the tub, yeah.
In the tub, but they'd all gone for lunch. I said, "God, aren't you..." And he's got wires with blood dripping, and He's going, what's happening? I said, well, all the lights are off. Aren't they? Well, I think they've gone for lunch, John. He said, oh, would you mind getting me a sandwich? No, what would you like? Oh, a little bit of cheese or something.
We are with Malcolm McDowell. The toll-free is up and running at 800-952-2788. I'm Tom, and you're watching CBS.